ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Assalam-u-Alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this lesson of Quran Tajweed course ورتل القرآن ترتيلا. Today our topic is أحكام اللام الساكنة. That means the rules of lam sakina. This is a very important lesson because here we will learn to distinguish between Huroof Shamsi and Huroof Qamari. And it is imperative to learn the difference between these two kinds of letters in order to pronounce the words of the glorious Quran properly. So watch this lesson till the very end if you're really serious about learning the Holy Quran. And remember, at the end of this lesson there will be a question for you to answer in the comments. As you know, in the previous few lessons we have learned the rules pertaining to the letters Noon and Mim when they are sakin, meaning vowelless. We saw in detail how and when these two letters are read with clarity, how and when they are assimilated into another letter, and how they are hidden in the nose. Continuing the same trend, today we will learn the rules pertaining to the letter lam when it is sakin. By the way, if you haven't watched any of those lessons, then you can watch it by clicking on this I button above. So, what is a lam sakina? We know lam is the 23rd letter of the Arabic alphabet. If this letter lam has any vowel sign like a fatha, a kasra or a dhamma on it, it will be called a lam mutaharrik. And if it has no vowel sign on it but a jazm sign like this on it, then it will be called a lam sakina, right? Now this lam sakina can occur at zillions of places in any Arabic text or conversation. It also occurs at many places in the glorious Quran. A lam sakina can occur in 3 different kinds of words in the Holy Quran, or for that matter in any Arabic text. It can occur in nouns, which are called al-asma in Arabic. Its singular is al-ism, meaning a noun. It can occur in verbs, which are called al-af'al in Arabic, and its singular is al-fi'l. And it can occur in particles, which are small words like articles, conjunctions, interjections, or prepositions, etc. These particles are called huroof in Arabic, and its singular is al-harf. Remember, here the word harf does not mean a letter of the alphabet. It rather means a small word, a part of speech like an article or a preposition. Now, when we talk about lam sakina in particles, it is used for 3 different functions. First, it is used in definite article al, which is called lam tareef in Arabic. Second, it is used as a particle of command, which is called lam al-amr in Arabic. Third, it is used as an interrogative particle hal and exclamatory particle bal. Lam sakin in all these 3 situations has different functions, and obviously there are different rules for the pronunciation of lam sakina in all these 3 situations. So here we will pick up the lam of the definite article al for discussion first. If you look at any page of the glorious Quran, you can easily notice that there are many words in each page of the Mus'haf that have this Alif Lam or Al attached to them. For example, let's look at this very first page of Surah Al-Baqarah from two different copies of the glorious Quran. The one on the right side of your screen is from Mus'haf Uthmani or Madani Mus'haf, and the one on the left side on your screen is from Indo-Pak Naskh Mus'haf. Notice the encircled words in both the pages. There are quite a few of them, right? Al-Kitabu Alladhina Bil-Ghaybi, Ba plus Al-Ghaybi. Then we have As-Salatu Walladhina, Waw plus Alladhina. Then we have Bil-Akhirati. Remember, we have to pick only those words which have Hamzah and Lam attached to them in the beginning, where this Lam is Sakin with a Jazm or Sukoon sign on it. This Al attached to these words is called LAAM TAREEF in Arabic, meaning Lam of definition. It is defined as هي لام ساكنة زائدة جعلها العرب قبل الأسماء لتعريفها ويسبقها همزة وصل مفتوحة تثبت هذه الهمزة في الخط دائما وأما في النطق فتثبت في البدء فقط. It's an extra lam sakina which Arabs put before a noun to define it. A hamzatul wasl with a fathah precedes it. This Hamzah is always written, but it is pronounced with a fathah only when starting from this word. So here we say the definite article al is only attached to nouns. It can never be attached with verbs. If we translate the al alone into English, it is equal to the definite article the. Like in these phrases, the man, the car, the idea, etc. As we saw in its definition, this definite article al or Lam Tareef, as it is called in Arabic, comprises a Hamzah and a Lam, where both the Hamzah and the Lam are Sakin, meaning they don't have any vowel sign on them. This Lam may or may not have a Jazm sign written on it, depending on the kind of letter that follows it. We will definitely learn in a few minutes when and why a Jazm sign is or is not written on this Lam. But before that, let me tell you that the Hamzah that precedes this Lam should ideally never have any vowel sign written on it, according to the Arabic grammar. Notice that I use the words should and ideally, which means in reality this Hamzah has a vowel sign written on it in some copies of the Holy Quran. This Hamzah is always written, but it is not always pronounced. It is pronounced with a fathah only when we start a sentence or a part of sentence from it. But if another word, letter, or a phrase precedes it, then this Hamzah will be dropped in reading. Let's understand it with a few examples. Alhamdu, Al-Qari'atu, Al-Ghaffaru. See, in all these three words which have an al attached to them, we pronounced this initial Hamzah with a fathah, like Alhamdu, Al-Qari'atu, Al-Ghaffaru, right? But we didn't put this fathah in writing on this Hamzah, because that is the actual rule of Arabic grammar. Now consider the same words with another word or phrase before them. Al-ibadatu wal-hamdu, mal-qari'atu, huwa al-ghaffaru. Notice earlier we said alhamdu, now we are saying walhamdu. Earlier we said al-qari'atu, now we are saying mal-qari'atu. Likewise, earlier we said al-ghaffaru, now we are saying huwa al-ghaffaru. So it should be clear to you that we are not pronouncing this Hamzah before this lam in the connected speech. That is why ideally no vowel sign should be written on it. We have to learn a bit more about this connecting Hamzah, but that won't be in this lesson, because here we have to understand the rules of lam in particular in detail. We will definitely learn about this Hamzah in detail in a future lesson, where we will discuss its role, kinds, and rules pertaining to it. Now coming back to the lam following this Hamzah. There are two possibilities of its pronunciation. The first one is idhar and the second one is idgham. Let's understand these two in detail. See, there are 28 consonant letters in Arabic, leaving out alif, because alif does not have a speech sound and it cannot start a word as a consonant. Okay? So any of these 28 consonants can start a noun. That means this LAAM TAREEF can come before any of these 28 letters to make a noun definite, right? Now these 28 letters are divided into two groups, where each group has 14 letters in it. Let's call the first group as group Qaf and the second group as group Sheen. Okay? The 14 letters that are in group Qaf are Ba, Jim, Ha, Kha, Ain, Ghain, Fa, Qaf, Kaf, Mim, Waw, Ha, Hamzah, and Ya. And the 14 letters in group Sheen are Ta, Tha, Dal, Dal, Ra, Za, Sin, Sheen, Sad, Dad, Ta, Va, Lam, and Noon. The letters that we called group Qaf are actually called Al-Huroof Qamari, meaning the moon letters. And the letters that we gathered in group Sheen are called Huroof Shamsi, meaning the sun letters. You know why they are called the moon letters and the sun letters? There is actually no serious background behind that terminology. The word Qamar, meaning moon, starts with the letter Qaf, and Qaf falls in that group. That is why those letters are called Al-Huroof Qamari. While the word Shams, meaning sun, starts with the letter Sheen, and Sheen falls in this group. That is why the letters in this group are called Al-Huroof Shamsi. I hope that makes sense to you. Now, whether we should do an idhar of the LAAM TAREEF or we should do an idgham of this lam of the definite article al, it depends upon the letter that follows it. I mean, whether we should pronounce the lam of al with clarity or we should merge it into the next letter depends upon the first letter of the actual noun to which this LAAM TAREEF or al is attached. Okay? If a noun starts with any of the moon letters or al-Huroof Qamariya and we attach al to it, then we should pronounce this lam with clear diction from its makhraj, which is the front of the tongue and the front of our tooth ridge. Let's make it clear with some examples. Al-Ardu, Al-Banunu, Al-Ghafuru, Al-Haqqu, Al-Jabbaru, Al-Kitabu, Al-Wahhabu, Al-Fawzu, Al-Khasmu, Al-Azizu, Al-Qiyamatu, Al-Yawmu, Al-Mustafa, Al-Huda. See, each of these nouns starts with a harf qamari or a moon letter, or we may say that the lam sakin of al is followed by a harf qamari in each of these cases. Therefore, we will pronounce the lam clearly, like al-ardu, al-banunu, al-fawzu, al-haqqu, so on and so forth. Remember, pronouncing this lam clearly is called idhar qamari, and this lam sakin that we pronounce clearly before al-huruf al-qamariyah is called lam qamariyah. Okay? You will always see a jazm sign written on this lam qamariyah. On the other hand, if a noun starts with any of the sun letters or al-huruf shamsiyah and the definite article al is attached to it, then we don't have to pronounce this lam sakin. Instead, we have to merge or assimilate it with the first letter of the actual noun. In other words, we may say, if the LAAM TAREEF is followed by a sun letter or a harf shamsi, then we should merge this lam into this harf shamsi. Okay? Let's understand it with some examples. At-tawwabu, at-thawbu, ad-dawa'u, ad-dhi'bu, ar-rasulu, az-za'iru, as-salamu, ash-shamsu, as-salatu, wala-ddallin, huwa at-tayyibu, min adh-dhulumati, al-latifu, an-naru. See, here each of these nouns started with a harf shamsi or the sun letter. That means the lam sakina of al is followed by a sun letter in all these cases. So we don't pronounce this lam sakina. In fact, we assimilate or merge it into the sun letter, like at-tawwabu, at-thawbu, ad-dawa'u, ad-dhi'bu, so on and so forth. This merging of the lam sakina of al into the sun letter is called idgham shamsi, and the lam sakina which is merged is called lam shamsiyya. There will be no jazm sign written on lam shamsi. Okay? Now, when we merge this lam sakina into the harf shamsi, this merger results in stressing or emphasizing of this harf shamsi. That is why you will mostly see a tashdeed written on a harf shamsi if it is preceded by the definite article al. This tashdeed or shadda is there to show you that you have to do idgham of this lam sakina into the next letter. Okay? This tashdeed will be there almost every time when al is attached to a noun starting with a harf shamsi. Let's go back to a few examples that we used for huruf shamsi. Wala-ddallin, huwa at-tayyibu, min adh-dhulumati. Did you notice that in these examples, even the Hamzah before this lam sakin is not pronounced? Watch it while I read these phrases. Wala-ddallin, هو الطيب من الظلمات. We jump straight away from the last letter of the previous word to this harf shamsi, leaving out this Hamzah. So why do we do that? We discussed that earlier in this lesson. This Hamzah of al is a connecting Hamzah or a Hamzatul wasl. So it is read only if we start from it. Otherwise, it will be assimilated like the lam following it. Okay? Now the last thing is that when we attach al to a noun, this noun becomes a definite noun. And when we detach it and use noun without al, then it is indefinite. For example, al-qalamu, the pen, definite noun. Qalamun, a pen, indefinite noun. As-sayyaratu, the car. Sayyaratun, a car. But there are some nouns which have al attached to them by default, and we cannot detach this al from them. Like the relative pronouns alladhi, allati, or alladhina. So we cannot detach al from these words and say the, or dhina. That would make these words very ambiguous and meaningless. I hope all that makes sense to you. With that, we have come to the end of this lesson. I hope you have understood it well. Now it is the knowledge check time. So today's question is, which word or particle of Arabic is equal to the definite article the of English? If you have watched the lesson till this point, you must know the answer. So write it in the comments. See you in the next lesson, inshallah. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين والمسلمات. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.